All right, everyone. Welcome to round 4 of our Division 1 series in Season 10. My name is Joseph Huerta, also known as Big Mama Frank. I am filling in for Ranger today, who has decided to fight bears in his spare time, and it has cost him a little bit of an injury. So now we're going to have to fill in for him tonight. It won't be the same kind of magic that Ranger always brings every week, but I'll do my best. I usually do my best when we're doing the meme race in Division 3, since Division 3 always gives us the best kind of content. But here in Division 1, we just get the super sweaty content. So I will do my best for everyone tonight. May have Kigenis hopping in here with us, even though I told him to go to sleep. We will see. All right, we have short qualifying this evening in Las Vegas. Weather looks clear according to telemetry. We have a few people already heading out on intermediate tires. One of these includes Duncan McCamick, already out. While we're getting everyone underway here, I believe we're a little slow. I've been a little slow on the standings, getting our spreadsheets and stuff this week. A lot of behind-the-scenes changes this week, so I've just been dragging my feet a little bit. I believe this should be correct. What we're looking at here, we have our championship leader is actually out tonight. He has reported that his pedals are not working. So that's unfortunate for him, in a very, very favorable position at the current moment, leading the championship by 7 points over Cam Bourne, who's also been another big surprise. Cam Bourne has just been that dude who's perpetually been in D1 in our league, and has always just slightly gotten better and better and better and better. So with Piche out, this gives Cam Bourne a really good opportunity to take that championship lead. But we are at Vegas, and what we've seen so far with just our one race in Division 2, that things can get mixed up quite a bit. Blake, who had an amazing race at Spain last week, just was not able to get things going and have the same kind of success at Vegas last night. So it will be a challenge for everyone as we're on board for Duncan McCammack's first attempt on these soft tires. Wrong button. You know, one big change that did happen just today is we did replace one of our Division 1 drivers. The team principal of McLaren, Dan, has decided to step down, and the team principals voted to allow Major Castman to take his place. So Major Castman will be driving for McLaren for the rest of the season. We did see Dan on those standings, as I had displayed here a second ago. Well, towards the bottom, he did ask to be locked in D1, even though his rating likely would have had him towards the middle pack of D2, but he thought he wanted to give D1 a shot. But that is it. He is racing tonight, as his other driver could not attend, so he is filling that person's seat, so he will race for half points. A couple other reserves. We have Alex Carugoat, just recently joined the server. We have Eric McNerney, Enrique McNewby filling in for Chad tonight. Duncan taking all of these curbs, generally try to avoid them as they changed how the track works several months ago. You can no longer take as much of these big curves as you could before. 32-1. Solid banker for Duncan. Last night we had a 31-3 as a Division 2 pole by Ranger. Took a break from his battles with the Bears to come race with us. Back here on this back straight, we actually have Quentin. Jaquan, first one into 31s. Quentin, who has already set the fastest Sector 1 time with a 43.4, does not set a purple time, is actually beaten by Cam Bourne. I forgot where Cam Bourne actually is. Cam Bourne coming in. Oh, he's just right in front of Quentin, actually. Okay, 31.5 for Fred. Very good banker. Cam Bourne beats that by a little bit more than half a tenth. Where does Quentin finish his lap at? Quentin goes pole with a 31.1, already beating that D2 pole with just his banker time. Very impressive start for Quentin. Quentin's had a bit of a rough start to the season. Did miss last season because of a personal issue, or last week, excuse me, due to a personal issue. He was looking quite pacey around Spain, so we did kind of miss out on that, and just kind of bring this up again for context. Quentin down in P8, or I'm sorry, P5 currently in Division 1. Still a solid spot, but 40 points behind the championship leader is a long way to go. But with Piche out, and who knows how long he's going to be out. If his pedals are not working, he may not be able to return at all. So hopefully we can get that resolved and get him back here, because it's always a pleasure to have him race. Always a pleasure to watch him. He gives us some excellent battles. Cal with the 31.5 as a banker. Solid for Cal. And we still have a lot of people on intermediates. We have Major Castle with 32.5. Nathan just crossed the line. P5 with a 31.7. I believe that's Ryan Newton that just crossed also, putting him in P3 with a 31.5. And Alex Carugoat on his, looks like an outlap. His battery is on, but he let the Ferrari by. I'm not sure what's happening here. Yeah, looks like, a lot of traffic there for Alex Carugoat here. Still odd, okay. Well, that's, Quentin was just disqualified. He looks like he missed the pin entry, got stuck, and was disqualified for blocking the pit entry. So from provisional pole to out of the session. So now he's going to start completely at the back. So looks like we have Jaquan and Duncan. Now, one issue we do have is, Ranger does have his Steam names changed to the names that we have in our standings. Oops. So it is going to look a little different from my perspective, as I don't have everyone's name in there. So I'll try to do my best to kind of make sure I'm connecting everyone's name with their actual Division 1 name. Jaquan, Jordan Quan, that's a little bit obvious for us. Freddie Razzle. Cal is Kyle Blevins. Let's have Duncan, who is Karma here in the AlphaTauri, coming around down this back straight towards the start-finish line to start his second attempt. He's going to run into a lot of traffic, though. A little bit out of sync by going out so early.
Good evening. Apologies for late.
No worries, man. Welcome to the broadcast. This is Kagenis with us, everyone. Also goes by Red Panda Pigeon Slayer. He races in Division 3. He did the broadcast with Nathan last night, so he's already a little bit warmed up to the Vegas race, and I'm sure he will be an excellent addition for tonight's broadcast.
I'm a bit warmed up, but still don't remember the turn names at this track, so that may be a bit confusing for me.
Yeah, it's a new track. I don't know if they even have real turn names yet. I mean, they probably have something silly like Elvis Straight, Mr. T Avenue or something dumb like that, but who knows? I've never actually looked myself. Duncan with a 43.9 in his first sector. That would put him on the slower end so far of the session, or of the top 5. Jaquan invalidating his attempt behind him. Or, excuse me, ahead of him.
It was behind him, and he just missed the breaking point to the chicane at the end of Sector 1.
Duncan with a 2.5 improvement to it into the 31s for Duncan, so 31.8 puts him into P6. Times are a little bit high right now, higher than we would expect, but this is one of those tracks where either you get it or you don't, and also it's one of those tracks where people just really don't like, so some people may just decide not to do any practice. But a lot of these times also we're done intermediates, so let's see.
Looks like Dan had some troubles on his hot lap because he got pretty heavy traffic on the straight. He was trying to get as many split stream as he could, but it looks like it didn't help him at all.
32.5 for Dan for his first valid lap. Puts him into P10. We have Fred on his second push attempt, going down this back straight into the final chicane.
He was improving by nearly 3/10 after Sector 2, so that might be a huge jump for him.
We have Magnuson Cube, I believe, on a lap behind him. Right behind him was actually Magnuson Cube on a pole. He just sat in the slipstream of Freddie Razzle, set a purple Sector 2, and put himself on provisional pole. 31.1 for Magnuson Cube. Still not quicker than Quentin K's banker of a 31.1 flat. I'm sure we'll get past that, but really, really crafty little move from Magnuson there to get provisional pole by just sitting behind Fred.
And Alex Caru is finishing his second sector with time 1:10.331, going to the last chicane of the race. A little bit of traffic in front of him, but that might help him. bit with split stream. No drivers ahead are too far to get a split stream for him.
We see Eruption, and then Cam Bourne's going to cross the line. Cam Bourne, both of those people popped up. Cam Bourne beating Eruption by just a little bit in that third sector. 31-2s now between our P2 and P3. Eruption a little bit behind that. Or, excuse me, Marcel a little bit behind that. Major Castman with a 31-5. And then Ryan Newton pops up with a 31-3 for his second attempt to pop into P4. We have Major Castleman on his, I believe, third push attempt. Oh no, he just completed his lap, excuse me. I believe everyone has completed their second attempt. Beamer just sitting in the pits, not doing his second attempt. Did his first one, or actually he has not done an attempt at all, so no time for a non-Trevetti. It looks like everyone has done their second attempt, and we will be waiting for everyone to go back out for their final go with 3 minutes and 45 seconds left in qualifying. But as it stands, we have Magnussen Cube and the AlphaTauri on provisional pole. Will he be able to do that again? Be cheeky and ride on somebody's slipstream again. Very crafty from him to do that.
And it looks like Duncan decided to go really early for his last attempt. He's going through Sector 2. So really shortly he will start his last attempt of this quality session.
And again, he's going to run into all the traffic of everyone going out for their final go. Looks like we have one person in Alfa Romeo already going out. Yeah, they're Stelios going out, or going back into the pits, excuse me. Here goes Duncan. It's like Duncan.
And there's Red Bull leaving the pit lane.
Yeah, that's Cal in the Red Bull. Cal Blevins in the Red Bull. I believe we have T-Nell already on track. Looks like he's trying to burn a lot of fuel by going really slow. He has a lot of space, so there's only one car on a valve lap, or on a push lap right now. And that is Duncan, but he's driving right into all this traffic. So Duncan currently with a 31.8. Let's watch his sector times closely. He's the first one out. Everyone else is on their out lap.
And it looks like he will reach that traffic in front of him in a very unfortunate place for him.
A very unfortunate place, and particularly with one of these people being his teammate. I get a bit of a tow from the Red Bull and of Kyle Blevins, but only two more cars in front of him on outlap, so he's cleared most of the traffic. But this is probably the worst place to run into his teammate in the braking zone. And then his teammate just doesn't give him a tow. So
huge misunderstanding in AlphaTauri.
Man. Duncan with a 43.7, so he's 2/10 off of Magnussen's pole, Sector 1. Cool.
Improving by a bit less than 1/10 in Sector 2.
Yeah, so you have to nail these braking zones and this throttle and this traction zone here. A little smooth from him, but maybe a little cautious going into that second corner. But we're seeing here, actually, right behind him, Magnussen Cube is going to be the first one to start his final attempt after not counting Duncan. Duncan does a small improvement, almost 2/10 of an improvement. But with so many people, with everyone behind him, we might be actually seeing a little bit of AlphaTauri teamwork here. I think Duncan might, finishing his lap right in front of Magnussen, will likely hold up to give Magnussen a tow down this back straight. So we will ride on board with Magnussen, see what they plan to do here.
You see plenty of yellow flags in Sector 2 and 3, this driver making a space for them.
Yeah, no one wants to give anyone else a toe, because we've already seen just how strong that is. Magnuson Cube about to cross that Sector 1 line. 43.5, a little slower, 2,000 slower than his initial time.
Snell, meanwhile, improving himself by almost 7/10 in Sector 1.
7/10, but Ahmed T-Mel is currently our slowest qualifier with a 32.6, so any improvement is going to do a lot for him. Magnuson with another toe from Duncan here. How much will this give him again? He was about... Oh no! They ran into each other. Oh no. Alright, well that's Magnuson. Magnuson is probably doomed. Crashing into the back of his teammate, trying to give him a toe. And we'll hop on board with... Yeah, Magnuson is going to finish his lap. No, a small improvement still, but may not be enough to hold on to that pole position. T-Nell up into P12, gets into the 31s for him. Behind him we have Kyle Blevins, currently in P7 finishing his lap. Small improvement for him, basically nothing. It does give him one position, but Major Castman is on his final push. But we have Jaquan coming through. Oh, now it's Maxime into P10 with a 31.7. Beamer up into P12 with a 31.7 as well. And then Jaquan with a 31.4 hops up in front of Cal, pushing Cal back into thick P7. Major Castman finishing his lap doing a 31.5. No improvement. Ryan Newton onto pole. Somebody finally beats Quentin K's provisional pole time. Cam Bourne still not beating Quentin's banker lap from earlier. So Ryan into the 30s, the only one so far, and likely the only one. Fred on his... And Fred goes around and he finishes P5 with a 31.2. So Ryan Newton taking pole by quite a bit here. 2/10 almost. Just under 2/10.
And Simon was driving really close behind Alpine, and he improved himself by over 5/10. That gave him P3 at the end of the session.
Yeah, big surprise there, Simon, who's had a little bit of a struggle through the first part of this season, getting all the way up into P3 by doing the Magnuson Cube of using someone else's toe. We are showing... So Magnuson, who put himself on a provisional pole after their second go, all the way down to P4, but he's still in a really nice position to battle for a podium, if not a win. We have, again, a big surprise in qualifying, a little bit of an error from Quentin, who had a 31.1 flat, so that would have put him P3 just with that banker lap that he set, disqualified going into the pits on his in lap. So now he is starting from the back in P19 as we have one driver missing for the 20th car.
I mean, this game is really badly scripted because even if you stop for like quarter of the second on the pit lane entry, you get disqualified immediately. So
that is true. The only issue with that is when he got disqualified, I swapped to him through the spectator, and he was backwards. So he was backwards stuck in the pit entry. So he did something weird and spun himself in the pit entry and got stuck. And instead of resetting and going back and going around the track again, he got disqualified. So that one, I think with this instance, it was probably user error. And if you spun in the pit lane the way he did, you probably get disqualified in real life too. I would imagine. So
yeah, probably. I've seen really awkward incidents in pit lane entry, like on low fuel mode, for example, at Spa. Two drivers collided each other because one was on low fuel, one got a bit more fuel, was going faster, tried to overtake him, they blocked each other, and they both got disqualified because of that.
yeah, and now we wait. We had a bit of a delay yesterday. I think people making some big adjustments to their setups and also just taking a moment to double check what kind of strategy they want to run. You can basically do anything here. You can do soft medium, you can do medium soft, hard soft. You can literally do any tire you want here. The only issue is just when is that inevitable safety car going to come out? That's the big issue. Here we go. We have lights. Really long delay on the lights there, but we're underway. It's right on board with Cam Bourne here. Ryan Newton with a really strong start off of the line. Simon actually getting in front of Cam there by quite a bit. Cam's struggling a lot on those
And
hards.
contact between AlphaTauri and Freddy Razel.
And
Razel is spinning around.
Fred and Eric McNerney in the Williams tonight, all the way at the back. We have a yellow flag again. I think looks Cal all the way at the back also. He's behind his teammate who wasn't able to actually qualify. But we have everyone, most drivers here we have on the medium tire. We have 5 people or 6 people on hards, and then 1 person, Quentin K. Ooh, a big punt there. Simon going around. I believe AlphaTauri of Magnussen Cube ran into the back of Simon Colston, going into that first chicane or into that chicane towards the end of the first sector. Now Simon's at the back of the grid, and Magnussen has fallen really far down as well.
I mean, I'm watching for the gain positions, and it looks like the biggest gainer is Snell with 8 positions advantage. Steel Repass with 7, and Quinton K with 4 position gain at the start.
Yeah, we've already seen at least 4 people being pushed off the track or getting caught into incidents. Major
Castleman is overtaking Nathan for P4. Apologies for interrupting you.
No, you're good. Whenever you feel like it. A little bit of a battle between Fred and the new guy, Alex. Fred getting in front of him towards the back. A bit of a gap forming between P3 and P4. We did have a bit of a... Simon and Magnussen getting into their incident did cause a bit of a vacuum there in the running order, but Ryan clearly in the front right now. Eruption going up from P5 into P2 already. Cam Bourne in it as well, but it's just going to be with all of these people running mediums, how easy will it be for Cam Bourne to stay with this train? Looks like we have Cal in the pits with wing damage, swapping from his mediums to his hards. So he is, unless we get a safety car, he is basically out of the... Well, it's so early he can get back into it, but it's a long way to go to race at the end with these hards.
It won't be easy, but probably it's possible to finish 24 laps on hards if you get a bit of luck, because they will be definitely in puncture range. Enrique McNewby and Magnussen Cube are swapping positions at the back of the grid.
Yeah, it looks like Eric's just struggling a lot. Maybe he has some damage he doesn't want to pit for, but he kind of got collected a little bit by the recovery of Magnussen and Simon getting back into the running order. But he's just kind of been a little bit slow, so he's definitely struggling a little bit. Ryan Newton had a second of... for a moment there, he was pulling away from Eruption in P2, but Eruption was able to close that gap.
And Jake One is overtaking Nathan, so Nathan dropping down another position. He's been overtaken by Alpine as well, but they are side by side to the last chicane, and Nathan is ahead.
Very clean race from both of them. That's such a hard corner to go too wide through, and Ryan Newton setting the fastest lap again. Major Castleman beating that lap. He is again in that P4, trying to close that gap to P3 in order to get in that DRS. DRS will be active on this lap. We will see it from Eruption and Cam Bourne.
Meanwhile, Quinton K gained another position. He overtook Dan for P11, so he is using those soft compound.
Yeah, he's making good use of that so far. A lot of cars to go to get back to where you would expect he would be. He would definitely have been top, like I said, he would have been P3 with just that banker lap, so it was a long way to go to catch up to that position. And in P4 and 5, or excuse me, P4, 5, and 6, all 3 of these cars are currently not running in each other's DRS, so they are all in no man's land with Nathan...
Yeah, and it looks like Ryan has run out from Eruption. He won't get DRS, so he will be under huge pressure from Cam Bourne in battle for P2.
Yeah, and that's also got Major Castleman in that train as well. So either Ryan just running away or a bit of a mistake from one of those people, because Major Castleman was able to close that gap from a 1.4 second gap to under a second to P3. And Cam Bourne does take that position from Eruption, usually done when there's only one car in that DRS train.
Dan is losing position to Freddy Razel. Nathan lost another position. Snell managed to overtake him. And Dan dropped down for another position. Duncan overtook him. But it looks like Major Castleman is struggling with his battery deployment.
Well, he definitely
I
had to use a
definitely
lot of battery
think-
just to try to catch the leaders, and he has done that now, so he'll have the opportunity. This track is pretty forgiving in terms of battery, so he will be able to, if he can ride in the DRS for a little while and not lose too much time to Ryan, he can
Anand is
definitely...
fighting side by side with Maxime. That's battle for P9. It looks like Maxime is in front of that half. But they were swapping positions a couple of times in first two turns.
Some rubbing his racing, kind of racing between Dan and Duncan there back in P13. Dan kind of driving Duncan off of the apex of the corner previous and maintaining his position in front of Duncan. But now there's a big gap between Dan and Fred in P12. Quentin going for an overtake on Anand Trivedi in that Haas. Does get it done. Just much better tires at this point in the race. He's really close to Maxime behind him.
And it looks like Holdespak catched up to Jake 1, so we will get quite huge DRS train from P5 all the way down to P12. Maxime is overtaking Nathan.
Yeah, Nathan's showing some pretty good qualifying pace in our session today, but he has dropped quite a bit so far in the race, and he's on the same tires as most of these people being overtaking him, and then Tanel actually on a harder compound, so Nathan's struggling a little bit right now. The big battle between him and Maxime, him backing out, and he has Quentin right behind him. I think Quentin's going to do what he can to try to... He's going to go up the inside of Nathan through turn 1, but does back out. He will have DRS on Nathan, but so will Nathan. Actually, Quentin trying to switch around, or excuse me, the old switcheroo for Quentin. Now they're side by side. Quentin has a better run. I think Quentin's going to have that position going to the corner. Yes, he does. Quentin now up into P9.
And it looks like good recovery drive for Freddy, who is in this pack as well. Nathan is swapping position with Anand. Anand was ahead for a while, but it was a really short moment.
Quentin K right on the back of Tinel. Very small delta there between the two of them. Tinel still has DRS from Stelios in front of him. We have about 3 trains kind of forming here. We have Ryan out in front by himself, and then 3 cars battling for P2 right now. And as we say that, Camborne
and the eruption lost 2 positions.
Yeah, it's a rough place. And Castleman going for the move on Camborne. No, he backs out. Camborne holds the position. All this battling, if it's not done cleanly, will help Ryan run away for this win that much easier. We have Quentin right behind Maxime going towards the start-finish line. Will he make a move going into turn 1? I don't think he's actually close enough. Nope, he backs out of the move. Still more fighting towards the front, though. Yeah, Camborne and Castleman and Eruption, they just keep fighting. Ryan now over 2 seconds ahead of them.
Down side by side to turn 1 with Alex Caru. Quinton K is overtaking Maxime for P8. And Duncan is overtaking his teammate for P13.
Yeah, Magnus and Cube, that incident turn 1, or excuse me, lap 1, definitely hurt him quite a bit. Simon as well. Simon is all the way back in P18 all by himself. So they are definitely not happy with how this race has started. But that gap between P4 and 5 just continues to grow. 3.4 seconds between Eruption and Stelios. That's probably not going to be able to be overcome outside of pit stop strategy.
Meanwhile, Freddy managed to overtake Anand for P11, and it looks like Haas driver made a mistake because he immediately dropped by over 1.5 seconds behind the Williams. Magnussen Cube is swapping positions with his teammate thanks to that long DRS. Dan and Alex Carroll close behind this pair.
Back up in P6, Jaquan really close to Stelios. Stelios going defensive to hold his position going to turn 1, but he goes so deep in the corner, Jaquan kind of gives him a little bit of a switchback and takes the position going into this DRS zone. Now Jaquan.
Snell is attacking.
Yeah,
They
T-Nell
are
is
going free wide. Jaquan is losing 2 positions, and Snell is gaining 2, it looks like.
Yeah, we're a little bit of, I think a little bit of Quentin actually getting through Stelios also. So huge battles going here. Quentin, Quentin a little bit of tap from Stelios, but he's able to hold it on track. A little bit wide under pressure from Jaquan there. A lot of battling happening here in this mid pack from P5 down to P12.
And they're so close to each other, it's easy to make a mistake and ruin your race and race for someone else.
Yeah, but back up towards the front, Castleman actually clearing Camborne and Eruption and catching up with Ryan. So Ryan is no longer in the lead by himself, and he's actually under pressure from Castleman going into the Sector 3 of this lap.
Yeah, Castleman was a bit too far. It looks like Tinel is losing 2 positions. Still Repas and Queen K managed to overtake him. And Tinel made a mistake, nearly crashed the wall.
Oh, Tinel has to have damage after that. Quentin actually going into the pits already? Is that what I see? Yeah, Quentin going in at lap 8. Curious if he actually got damage from something, or if he's just deciding I'm going to pit early and try to see if I can't undercut everyone. Okay, Quentin going to the hards on lap 8. Really early time to pit, but he can definitely make it to the end from here. But he's going to be driving by himself for a long time. I have to kind of question that decision to pit there.
Close to the contact. It was the contact between Freddy Razel and Tinel. At the exit of turn 3, Tinel was smashed to the wall by this Williams.
Yeah, the battle continues. Quentin decided to get himself out of there. But back towards the front, again, we still 4 cars in the leads, almost 6.5 seconds between P4 and P5 right now. Still no safety car, which is a bit of a surprise. So we may be at the point where we might be thinking maybe no safety car is going to happen at all this race. Major Castman taking the lead of the race.
It looks like Camborne will try, but he is way too far to make a move. Still Repas is losing 2 positions to both Aston Martins. And I'm watching Quinton K pace. He looks like he got way better pace comparing to Simon in front of him. He's catching him rapidly. Meanwhile, Dan and Alex Carew are swapping positions, but Alex lost the position to Williams of Enrique. And Dan losing position as well to him.
Back up towards the front, actually. Major Castman is on the verge of breaking the DRS delta to Ryan Newton in P2. Ryan using a lot of battery there. He's able to actually catch back up to back under 9/10. So we will have DRS going into this back straight.
In midfield, Tinel overtook Freddy Razel, and it looks like they might be out of DRS. Tinel is closing, and it looks like he closed enough to get that DRS help to defend against Freddy, because he's way too far to attack Nathan.
Yeah, back up towards the front, Eruption actually losing a ton. Like, he lost DRS 1 time, and he lost 2 seconds to the cars in front. So that's kind of gives you an idea of just how much you lose if you don't have DRS on this track.
On the back of the pack, we have another position swap. Alex Carew overtook Williams of Eric. Nathan John managed to overtake Jaquan for P7.
Still side by side between Nathan and Jaquan. Jaquan on the inside going into his first DRS zone.
Nathan is gently ahead, but it looks like Jaquan might have better entry to that turn 3.
Nathan's
Close
so
to the
close.
contact, but
Yeah.
it was super close to the contact, but lucky for them, it was clear. Couple of positions behind them. Dan lost position to Williams. I can imagine how badly the tires are suffering in this battle.
Ooh, I think we just saw Stelios, or I believe that was actually Fred, have a bit of... Oh no, Fred and Beamer going into the wall! Oh, Fred had a bit of a moment on exit going down this back straight, put himself into the wall, and then Beamer tried to overtake him, and then he got kind of sandwiched into the wall. So one of those, or both of them, will have damage. Beamer does have front wing damage. I'm not sure about Fred.
Fred car looks fine. As I see, Major Castleman is still on the lead. Ryan Newton it looks like he doesn't look for a move on leading McLaren. Beamer is into the pit lane. Freddie Razel is still on the track.
So kind of looking back, we still have one person that is pit intentionally at this point. We have Anand and Cal who have pit because of front wing damage. Quentin is up back up to...
Huge contact between Nathan and Sirepas. Not sure was it a desync or just Nathan was heavily rear-ending that Alpine in front of him out of turn 3. Cal Blevins is losing position to Anand, but is way far back behind the pack. And it looks like Ryan Newton is struggling to stay with that DRS. He barely catched on this detection point, but it's Camborne who is trying to make a move on Mercedes. Nothing happening so far.
Interruption almost 5 seconds behind them. Who was just a couple laps ago was fighting for that podium position with the rest of those 3 drivers. Camborne
is in front of the Mercedes. Maxime Beaulieu is heading to the pit lane.
So Maxime, the first one after Quentin to pit off of those medium tires. Maxime, I would imagine, will be going hards at this point in the race. Stelios with Nathan right on his gearbox going into this DRS zone on lap 12 of 25.
Surprisingly, Magnussen Cube, who was running on hard compound, is heading to the pit lane as well for fresh mediums.
Magnussen actually just had his front wing replaced also, so he may have been actually riding with damage that entire time.
Dan also decided to pit. He switched from mediums to fresh hard.
So Quentin really close to catching up with a lot of these people who have yet to pit. In P13, 4 seconds behind Alex Carugo, who is in the DRS of Eric McNerney ahead of him in that Williams. A lot of battling here still in this mid-pack.
And it looks like Camborne became a new race leader.
Camborne on those hard tires. They may be at this point, maybe the quickest tire compared to these mediums. Ryan with a bit of a moment there coming through that chicane, but looks like Ryan is actually going to pit now. He's going to get off of these medium tires.
Fred with Freddie Razel.
3 second. Ryan actually speeding. Oh no.
And look at this. Freeway, almost 4-way to the pit lane. Nathan Jaquan.
Stelios overtaking Jaquan at the pit line.
Stelio.
Big move from him. Yeah, a lot of traffic there going into the pit lane. Ryan Newton is going to come out right. Let's see how far in front of Quentin he's going to come out. Looking about 4 seconds in front of Quentin. Quentin already on 5-lap-old hard tires.
He will be able to catch a bit more until Nathan will hit up that hard compound.
Yeah, it's just going to be how long will these tires hold on compared to these newer tires? 5 laps is quite the difference. But we still have Camborne and Major Castleman still have not pit. Simon still has not pit, and he is in P8 right now. And then that is everyone who has not pit. Cal is on 11 lap old hard, so he pit on lap at the end of lap 1. Castleman overtaking Camborne on this lap, likely going into the pits, I would imagine.
Yeah, and to be honest, it would be wise for Cam to box as well. Because he will be dropping a lot of time.
They're both staying out. Castleman's staying out. They may be thinking softs now. At this point, the softs can make it to the end. However, they do fall off rather quickly.
You know, another episode of battle in the midfield. Tinel is overtaking Sirepa, but he is trying back, and that's a contact.
So Jake Wan back on track. He may not have any damage as he was punted from behind, but it does make him lose a lot of time. He went all the way up from battling with Nathan in P9 down to P16.
Alex Caro decided to go to the pit lane right now. And I'm watching the delta between Camborne and Ryan Newton, and it looks like from the start of the lap, Ryan was able to catch up by nearly 2 seconds. Now he's overtaking Nathan Dunn for P8.
We still don't have a full lap for Ryan. Ryan is on his first complete lap. Quentin running in the low 36s right now compared to the leaders in the 37s to high 37s. So that gives us an idea with Ryan actually pulling away from Quentin right now. His pace is likely somewhere in the 35s. Simon actually getting pushed off at the corner before the back straight. He's actually spun around. I'm not sure if he got pushed off or he went deep, but he just lost a ton of places.
And Camborne decided to go to the pit lane. Major Castleman decided to stay out on this mediums.
So Castleman at this point looks like he's committed to the softs. Camborne, he fit on a set of mediums, so he's going to the end on the mediums. But he's going to come out, I think, right in front of Quentin K. So he'll be a few seconds behind Ryan on the hard tires.
Ryan just made lap with time 33.5.
So Camborne right now is our net leader if you take into account Ryan's penalty. A 5-second penalty for speeding into the pits. Actually, we have almost 3 wide, I think, between Stelios, Tinel, and Nathan Doan, but they cleared up there through turn 1. Eruption already catching up with Quentin. These old tires for Quentin really hurting. He's definitely not going to be without a safety car. He's not in contention for any kind of win right now, but he's at least ahead of that kind of death pack of people battling over and over and over.
And speaking about battle, there's an ant fighting really hard against Duncan.
Oh no!
And there was a contact. Oh. Brazil was a victim. We see yellow flags.
And Fred just driving 5-second penalty, corner cutting for Duncan. He must have the illegal overtake. That's a virtual safety car. Will it be upgraded? And that's big for Castleman, who's going to pit now, I would imagine. Yeah, free pit stop for Major Castleman. He's going to come out well ahead of Ryan. I believe he should be, my own guess would be something like 7 seconds in front of Ryan because of this virtual safety car. Easily softs for Major Castleman.
Yeah, it is soft compound for McLaren driver.
Ryan
this will be really close.
Yeah, Ryan does overtake him. Camborne looks like he's going to overtake him as well. Really close. On the pit exit, Cam actually gets just in front of him. So instead of having to charge back from behind Eruption is likely where I would have guessed, where he would come out if he had pit. Drive-through for Camborne. Oh no, he tried to stick it in front of Castleman on the pit exit and earned a drive-through penalty as the virtual safety car was ending, so Camborne is going to lose a ton of positions now. So now the only thing we have is a battle between, it looks like, Eruption, Ryan Newton, and Major Castman for this race win. Ryan Newton with a 5-second time penalty, Camborne with the drive-through. And behind that VSC, Quentin K actually decided to box. I'm a little bit surprised he decided to do that. He has a lot of... I think it actually did... He's really far back now. 9 seconds to P12. That may not have been the right call.
He had spare set of softs. So probably that's why he decided to pull into. To buff Red Bulls on soft compound.
So looking at our leader Delta, Eruption just outside of Ryan's 5-second penalty Delta. But he's on the same tires, so it's going to be challenging for him to catch up. And he's just all on his own. He is a long way back.
Camborne is overtaking Major Castleman.
It'll be interesting to see. Cube, go ahead.
Behind them is overtaking Sirepas for P8. And he is really close to make a move on Nathan Dunn. But no, not enough space for that Alpha Tauri to make a move.
So yeah, Eruption losing more and more time to Ryan. So it doesn't look like Eruption's going to be able to overtake Ryan with that penalty unless we get a safety car. I don't know who that is, but they should not be in this lobby. So that VSC kind of broke apart our mid-pack train there. A lot of people kind of pitting out of it, trying to see if they can't do something, but the VSC kind of came in as they were in the pit, or ended as they were in the pit lane. So it slowed a lot of people down. So we have Maxime, T-Nell kind of in their own zone right now in P4 and 5. T-Nell in front of Magnus and Cube and Duncan.
Jaquan and Anand are really close to that pack from P7. Ryan Newton is losing position to Camborne.
And it
looks like Major Castleman is trying to attack. No, he was too far. Magnus and Cube is overtaking Nathan Dunn for P7. Camborne with new fastest lap 1:33.6, so it looks like I was mistaken, and Ryan made a lower lap than 33.5.
So now Camborne has to pit this lap. If he does not pit this lap, he will be disqualified. He'll probably lose something like 20 seconds or so in the drive-through, which will likely put him somewhere... Wow, he's going to lose maybe 10 positions. Yeah, something like that. So it's going to be a two-horse race to the end of this, with Ryan Newton having a 5-second penalty.
So if he loses more than 18 seconds, he will be just behind Anand on P12. Major Castleman is attacking Ryan Newton. Both of them got that DRS, and it looks like Ryan Newton is defending really well against that McLaren. Going to the inside was too far to attack Camborne. But most important for Mercedes driver, he kept that position, and Camborne is heading to the pit lane to serve that drive-through penalty.
So Magnus and Cube actually making up a little bit of time to T-Nell back in P7. Eruption... Oh, we have... Okay, excuse me, I'm sorry. Camborne getting overtaken by quite a few people as he comes out. He actually does not lose as much time as I thought he would with the drive-thru, so he only falls to P5. Well out of a way from a podium, about 5 seconds behind Eruption, who is in P3 right now. With only 6 laps to go, he probably won't have enough time to catch him, but from fighting for the win to P5 is definitely not as much as I expected from him.
And Camborn looks like he have quite a big advantage of battery over Maxim in front of him.
Sending it down the inside, going into this back straight. The only issue is sending the overtake there. You have to dump your entire battery to keep Maxime behind. And like I mentioned, here's Maxime, already has a really big run on him. But not going for the move, actually backing out at max revs to not overtake Camborn. Maybe he's thinking try to stick with Camborn and just ride it. You let Camborn lead him with his tires.
And Maxim is on harder and bit older compound. So Camborn should have better traction on the exit, so he should be able to run out from Maxime, and it's nearly a second gap between them already.
Yeah, Maxime doing a good job sticking with him, but like you mentioned, I think this is going to be too much for him. 3-lap better tires on softer compounds. Definitely a big task to try to stick within that DRS detection zone.
Looks like Ryan is also struggling with traction on comparing to that soft compound of Major Castleman. He's already over 1 second behind him, and he is out of DRS on leading McLaren.
Yeah, so it's just the tire advantage for Castleman is just way too high for Ryan to do anything about. The biggest thing he has to worry about now is that penalty delta. He still has quite a bit of time. Let's take a look at from leader here.
Nell managed to overtake Maxime for P5.
Camborn gapping that little battle. Very impressive race for Madison Cube to have been caught up in an instant on lap 1, have to change a broken wing, and he's already back up into P7, so very good race from him so far. The other person caught up in that instant, Simon, down in P17 all alone, back towards the back, so...
Speaking about Magnussen Cube, he was really close to Maxime, decided to step back and do not attack to turn 3, but he will get a huge chance to attack that Aston Martin on the back straight. Actually, Maxime managed to close that gap to Nell, so he will have DRS as well.
You know, one thing to kind of take note of is Camborn was over a second faster than Eruption. So if that pace continues, he actually will catch Eruption before the end of this race, and he will be in a battle again for this last podium position.
Maxime is retaking P5 for Tinel. Tinel is losing position to Magnussen Cube as well. Jake One, couple of positions behind them, is overtaking Duncan for P10, and Tinel with 3-second penalty for track limits.
Oh, that's a disaster for him. So many people close in this battle. He's going to lose at least 5 positions just from this 3-second penalty.
So Camborn on the last lap was 1.3 seconds faster comparing to Eruption. Tinel is swapping positions with Magnussen Cube. And Nathan Doan is waiting for mistake of one of them. Really close behind.
And Quentin K actually almost just over 3 seconds behind this kind of mid-pack train that we've been kind of watching through most of this race. So he's actually close to being able to maybe fight for, back up to where he was. I think he pit from P6 when he behind the VSC. Ooh, I think we saw an AlphaTauri go deep there. And yeah, Duncan going quite deep into that chicane, into the back straight.
Yeah.
He's actually being caught by Quentin now.
Now he's losing position to Magnus and Cube.
And like I mentioned before earlier, Cam Bourne is already less than 2 seconds behind Eruption. So Eruption's really kind of struggling on these tires. A yellow flag back there.
Nathan spans out. He went probably too deep or took too much of that inside curb on the last chicane. And he dropped behind Duncan to P12. Duncan lost position to Quinton K. He's trying to fight back. And I just noticed we are less than 3 laps to go.
Yes, we are. 2 laps to go after they cross the start-finish line at the end of this lap. Tinel still with that 3-second time penalty, so as it currently runs, he will lose, I believe, at least 3 positions, depending on how close Quentin gets to this train. Cam Bourne just outside the DRS delta of Eruption in front of him in P3, so we will have a battle for the last podium position at the end of this race.
And Magnussen Cube is overtaking Tinel, so Magnussen moved back to P6. Tinel is striking back. The DRS train really don't work too good for Quinton K. They are running away from him on DRS straight. But it looks like on twisty sections, Quinton is gaining a lot to this pack in front of him.
Yeah, just looking at lap times, the leader of this pack, Maxime was in the 37. He did a 37 flat. Quentin did a 36-1, so he's a little bit quicker than everyone in this train without DRS.
And also, Quinton got a lot of battery comparing to pack in front of him. Meanwhile, Cam Bourne is really close to Eruption on P3. It's about half a second gap.
Yeah, and the question is, we are in the second to last lap. Will he overtake Eruption here, or will he sit behind for the last lap? Eruption has kind of a weird exit there going through that corner. So will Cam Bourne lift and sit behind Eruption, or will he stick it and just try to beat him on the last lap? He's lifting. Cam Bourne is lifting. So he's just going to wait. He's just going to wait.
He's not even using DRS, so...
You know, if Eruption, honestly, at this point, you would think if he's not going to overtake him, you drive as slow as you can, push him back into the people behind him, get him caught up into that stuff. But it's a big gap, 4.5 seconds. A lot of stuff happening.
Going around after prop contact, I do believe it was between him and Maxime. And Tinel is dropping back. Magnussen Cube, meanwhile, on P5. That's a huge comeback for AlphaTauri driver.
It is, but we have one more big DRS straight before the end. We have this one here, and then one more where things are going to get really wild.
And Quinton K is half a second behind them.
So he's in it. He's going to be in this battle for the potential for P5 with the rest of these cars. So back up towards the front. Eruption still in front of Cam Bourne. Both of them have a decent amount of battery. About an 8% advantage for Cam Bourne.
And he will get that DRS advantage on final meters of the lap. so Eruption might be unable to defend that.
Ooh, weird exit again from Eruption, but yeah, it's with this back straight, with how long it is, with how much DRS it is, going to be really hard for Eruption to keep him back. Eruption dumping his entire battery.
And so is Camborn.
But look at that speed that Camborn has. There's just no way for Eruption.
362 kilometers per hour comparing to 337 of Eruption. That's a huge speed advantage.
Back here towards this.
No mistakes.
Eruption.
And Major Castleman is winning the race. Ryan Newton crossing the line as second.
Ooh, Stelios spun into the wall. No, on his own. Now Quentin is right behind Jaquan going into this final corner towards the start-finish line. Dumping his battery all the way down to 0. I don't think he has enough to make any kind of move. But Maxime in P5 actually getting in front of Magnus and Cube on that last lap. Quentin fighting his way back up into the top 10 into P8. Stelios
and
with the...
Quinton missed 83 milliseconds to P7.
Yeah, he was so close to Jaquan. Just not enough battery to make anything happen. We still have a few people running. We have Simon in finishing the race in P15 after qualifying P3. Eric finishing right behind him in P16. Cal and Fred will be the last ones to finish here.
And both of them was starting pretty high. Freddy Razel is trying to steal that fastest lap, probably. Some fresh soft compound. And he did it.
Yeah, he did do it. I mean, Major Castman, just kind of the best possible VSC he possibly could get from the lead of the race. Half of a pit stop for him behind the VSC, coming out just behind the people who have already pit in front of him on better tires. So the perfect chain of events for him to win that race. However, he did have the pace to fight with him towards the end. And then the Ryan Newton penalty, 5 seconds, the speeding in the pits just definitely kept him out of contention for the win there. But still, incredible pace on those hards.
Yeah, I have to say that I'm really impressed by P3 for Camborn, because after that drive-through penalty, we both was pretty sure that his race is basically over, and he still managed to go back to that podium spot.
Yeah, very impressive. I mean, I definitely overestimated how much time he would lose. But he...
Yeah, like we were considering about 18 to 20 seconds, and he lost about 13. So huge miscalculation.
Yeah, definitely a big miscalculation from me there. But very impressive race from everyone in the top 3 particularly, who just ran away from the entire field or the entirety of the race. Let's see if we can't get these guys in the waiting room. There is the final classification for this race. Just going to get the deltas there. Let's see. Try this out. It's working. Okay, as we wait for these people to get in the waiting room, the only person we have right now is Major Casper. We'll see if the other podium winners will hop in there. And there we are. All right, so our podium winners are now in the waiting room. We'll do a quick interview with them, and then we will wrap this baby up. So in P3, in I believe his third podium, or maybe his. Cam, have you have a podium every single race this season so far?
I think this is the third.
Third podium. All right, third podium in a row for Cam Bourne. We thought you actually were going to lose a lot more time with that drive-through penalty. We thought, oh man, he was having such a great race. Actually, it's a drive-through penalty, fighting Castleman on the pit exit as the VSC ended. But then you fight your way all the way back into P2. Really impressive race for you. How do you feel after that race?
Uh, Not really that good, to be honest. I feel like that was my win. I think I showed I had the pace to stay ahead after the VSC. But I mean, obviously, I'm super happy for Major. That's a crazy result for him. But yeah, I was like 1.8 seconds below the delta going down the main straight, and by the time I got out of turn one, just trying to keep ahead of Major, all of a sudden the delta dropped like crazy, and I was trying to slow down while also trying to stay ahead of him. But yeah, it must have been really close.
Yeah, I mean the delta. I noticed in this game deltas are going to reset if you're crossing the lap line. So maybe that was the issue you had, and that caused a huge problem for you. But we were speaking a moment ago. I was really impressed about your comeback to podium spot. Mega job for you. Really, congratulations for that.
Now,
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Cam, with this result in P3, this does put you, and with Pichet's absence, this does put you in P1 in the Division One championship battle. How do you think, you might do for the rest of the season, knowing that you're actually in front of everyone else?
Yeah, I think. I mean, honestly, I don't think I'll win the championship, but I'm obviously going to push as hard as I can to do that. But really, the goal is P3. That's kind of been the goal since F1 23. I think the first season was P4, the second season was P4, P5 within a few points both of those times, I think. So, yeah, P3 is really the goal this season.
Well, we have seen kind of a lot of unpredictability kind of things. We have had a couple of absences between Quentin and Nicholas Pichet. So, I mean, anything can happen. And Ryan also, he did miss a race. So anything can happen. I mean, you're the only person, I guess, in the top three that has raced every single race. So that could give you a really big advantage at the end. So don't quit on yourself yet, man. You might have a shot.
Yeah, I definitely try and make every race, and I should make every race for the rest of the season, so we'll see.
All right, well, congratulations, man, on this third podium in a row. I look for. We have 1 week off next week, and we're coming back for a random track. Out of curiosity, how do you feel about the random tracks or the random races?
I kind of enjoy them, to be honest. Um, just kind of prevents people from just sweating all week practicing. Um, and yeah, just kind of mix things up a little bit, I guess.
Okay, well, yeah, well, thank you for hopping in here with this interview for us, and we'll look forward to that race in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, man.
All right, and after that, we just had Cam at P3 for Vegas of round four of Division One, and in P2 we have Ryan Newton. Ryan, I'm sure you were feeling pretty frustrated after getting that speeding into the pit penalty. What were you thinking after that? Were you just hoping for a safety car to kind of bail you out and maybe give you a chance to fight back up towards the front?
I was just hoping to stay up where I am. I after speeding, I didn't really care. I didn't practice pit entry or anything, so I'm not even shocked I sped in the pit. But yeah, I think we got most of what we could. I think I didn't like I did like I did no race practice, like not a single lap. But so I think the setup, maybe we might have made a few mistakes with the setup. Maybe a bit too low in the wing. It was good early in the stints, but like once I hit like a drop off, it's just kind of done from there. But yeah, I know. I mean, also with it being Vegas, knowing it'd be like a toss up. So I think anybody could have won that. I didn't really care for this one.
So I mean, one thing that I thought I predicted in the beginning was I assumed I made a comment saying that there's basically an inevitable safety car at this point. Were you as surprised as we were that no safety car happened?
Yeah, I mean, I know we had the VSC, but yeah, I'm surprised. I thought we were gonna get one like real early as well because the what was happening. I thought somebody would have been in a wall by like lap 2 or something, but it's surprising that we didn't get any. So thanks for doing the bare minimum with racecraft, guys.
All right. Well, Ryan, congratulations on your P2. Nice
Yeah.
finish with the penalties to have to overcome. So we have next week off, and after that we have a random track. Probably the only one we're going to do this season. Out of curiosity, how do you feel about the random GPs?
They're horrible. I mean, I think a season like this, I wouldn't like them. Maybe like if we had a bit of a longer season, but since this season is kind of getting cut short, I
I mean, we're
don't like
still
this.
doing 10. We're still doing 10 races, so
Also, but
it's
I don't
even,
like
you
the
know.
sprint race. I don't like the sprint races.
That's fair.
Boring.
All right, Ryan, thank you for hopping in here with us and answering our questions.
Yep.
Congratulations on the finish, and we look forward to the next race.
Oh,
Oh.
and one thing, please put out the standings.
Yeah, they'll be
I
out
don't know.
tonight.
I don't
They'll
know
be
the
out
gaps.
tonight.
I need to know how many points I need to score. Actually, I'll just win. Never mind.
We actually brought that up to Cam Bourne. Cam Bourne actually does take P1 in the championship with Pichet's absence. You were close behind him in P2, but that is where you stand right now.
All right. I'll take it.
All right. Well,
Hopefully, P1 back soon.
all right. You heard it. You heard it here from the man himself. P1 back soon. So we'll see you in a couple of weeks, Ryan. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. And then with us now, our race winner, who just took over the McLaren seat a couple hours before the race, Major Castman, very committed to the medium soft strategy there. A little bit of luck with the VSC towards the end, but he was showing the pace that he may not have mattered if that VSC had come out. Castman, how do you feel after that race?
Oh, I'm over the moon. That was incredible. I was not expecting to have that happen. I'll be honest. Qualified P10. I thought that it was going to be a similar case to Spain last week, where we're just going to be kind of fighting because everybody's the same pace, and then the top few are going to run away. But that turn one shenanigans happened, and then some turn 6 shenanigans happened, and all of a sudden I'm in P4. So then it was just measuring the pace to the top 3, to Eruption Cam and Ryan, and figuring out where I fit in that, and how to move forward. And I think pretty early on I found out that I had really good pace, because Eruption Cam and I were battling amongst each other and still catching Ryan. So it was just about being in front when we caught him, and I was, and then managing the race until the pit stop. I felt really good on the mediums. Just I was trying to constantly calculate how Cam was doing on the hards to see when my tires were going to fall off. And then of course the virtual safety car came out at just the right time. That was actually when I was planning on boxing that lap anyway. But it saved me about 10 seconds. So that was incredible luck. And I was in the right place at the right time.
So from what you're saying, it sounds like you didn't actually have a firm strategy about what you might have pit to or when you may have pit. You were just kind of feeling it out and seeing where you would wind up, and then you were going to determine where what you might do pit stop wise.
No, I was always committed to the medium soft strategy, because I did a league race here way back, like several months ago, and that's how I knew that it would work. It was just about whether it was quick or not, because I love medium soft, but sometimes it's not always quick. So once I realized I didn't have to push very hard to stick with the front guys, I had a feeling I was gonna be okay.
Yeah, we did see you, I think, in your most recent race win in Division 2 a few seasons back. You ran the same strategy at Miami. I think you did medium soft there and was able to get a nice, comfortable win there. So medium soft, maybe call that the Major Castman strat after today.
I guess so.
So we have next week off for the Easter holiday, and the week after that we have the random Grand Prix. I believe that may be the first one that you've taken part in. So just so you're in the loop, or just so you understand what it's like, we just have a bot that rolls all the tracks that are not on this calendar and excluding Monaco and Singapore 2 hours before, and then everyone has 2 hours to get set up and get ready to go. So what are your thoughts on the random race?
I'm honestly I'm looking forward to it. Last season I was the McLaren strategist, and the random weeks were honestly sort of the most fun, because it was a bit of jeopardy, and you gotta be prepared with every possibility. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited.
All right, well, hey, here's our race winner in his first race back in Division 1 after several seasons, Major Kaspman in P1 here at Vegas. So, Major Kaspman, very congratulations on your race win, man, and we look forward to the rest of the season with you on the grid.
Yeah, me too. Thank you guys so much for allowing me back. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, welcome back. All right, thanks, man.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so that concludes our race here. Hopefully my stream is set up correctly where it's showing the finishing order for Vegas with my telemetry app. So that concludes it for us. That's the finishing order. Hopefully it doesn't look weird, but whatever. So thank you guys for joining us tonight. We will be back in 2 weeks. Next week we are off for Easter, like I mentioned, and the week after that we will be back for a random Grand Prix. So I look forward to that, and I look forward to more broadcasts with you. And tomorrow night, remember, we have Division 3, same time, same place with me. And we will have